we here at Shelf Life will try to espouse not only is everything wrestling, but everything past, present, and future will always be wrestling. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Rachel.
This is Shelf Life, your guide to everything pop culture, led by a brother and sister team. We are doing something special today, just a little bit different.
A little bit. It's a lot different.
That's right, folks. It's time for some fucking professional wrestling to be discussed on Shelf Life. It's the moment that you've all been dreading. But before you skip that episode, don't press the skip button. Hear us out on this, because while wrestling is a form of entertainment and an art and a media that is totally looked down upon with good reason, it is nothing but carny bullshit. I posit to you that you actually do like professional wrestling. You just don't call it that. You either watch reality television, or you're into politics, or you're into sports, or you debate on the internet about which Matrix movie was best, or you try to determine what celebrity said is real or fake, or who's Taylor Swift dating this week. It's all professional wrestling. It's all fake. It's all a way to try to make you entertained in a very worked manner. And we're going to just show you that professional wrestling, while it is looked down upon, like Rachel, we've been to cons before, and
Yes.
you will see people there that are, they got the tail attached to them. They're huge weebs. They are into the most obscure comics. We've sat in on comic panels where people will come up with the most obscure detail. It's the xylophone situation where people will come up with obscure details. But if you mention that you watched professional wrestling or still do, you are looked at like a pariah, even in the dorkiest of corners. But it's just another form of art, and 90% of it is shit.
Yeah.
But that 10% that really hits is perfect.
I mean, the whole idea is if you get a really good story, you get some bad acting, you get some actual like physical acrobatic movements. It's got a lot of stuff to it, so it can be
It's
very entertaining.
it's theater. It's live action theater.
And
And
honestly,
it's
the best is when everybody is together inside of that one arena and somebody's doing something crazy, and then you get the chant starting and you get super into it, and by the end of the night, you have no voice.
I would, yes. We've been to, well, I guess we should talk about our background from wrestling, because there's a reason why we enjoy wrestling. I started watching wrestling in the Attitude Era, like most people my age. I think most people my age delved into wrestling a little bit. I became a lapsed fan. I relapsed in around, let's say June 2011, for a reason that we'll get into. And then stuck around for a while because of NXT and now AEW. And other than NXT and AEW, I would say I am lapsed again. I've relapsed. A couple of reasons of why we got into wrestling or stayed into wrestling. One is we grew up in a very wrestling centric area,
Yes, absolutely.
big city that is very
Into
wrestling
wrestling.
into wrestling.
But it is kind of the best place for wrestling.
Yeah,
I mean, there
yeah.
might be other cities that are super into it, but this one is the best one for the shows. Just saying.
I think what we'll do, very similar to the comic books, is break it down into different eras where we can cover more ground. So, what I can say about Shelf Life is we'll likely cover Royal Rumbles because they're the best thing ever, WrestleManias because they're the big guys, and then some of the other matches sprinkled in between. And because, Rachel, I think I speak for both of us when we say that our favorite wrestling product ever was Black and Gold NXT.
Oh, yeah.
that will cover the takeovers. Because I
Yeah.
think that NXT was the perfect
Easy
combination
enough.
for me personally of wrestling ability and storytelling and characters. So we'll definitely go into those. Stay tuned, by the way, for NXT. That's not even like on the list. That's just like stay tuned. It's coming.
No, you
It's coming up
it's
pretty quickly.
Let's do this. I can't go full on with the. I can't.
And then the other reason that we got into wrestling, I mean, it was perfect. What's the perfect age for wrestling? It's 9 years old. Because
well, yeah, because you're still kind of in that whimsical, like
yeah,
believable,
so
everything's believable kind of a phase.
you want to believe it. You know it's fake, but you want to believe it because it's like, well, they're still beating the shit out of each other, kind of a thing.
Right.
If you were 9 years old when the Attitude Era was there, that's the best era. If you were 9 years old when John Cena was doing stuff, that was the best era.
Oh, yeah.
If you're 9 years old now, you think Roman Reigns is the best era. Like that's where you stick. It's a very nostalgic thing.
I feel like I can't hate him anymore. Roman Reigns.
Roman?
I can't.
Oh, I never hated Roman.
Well, I loved to hate him, and now I just don't think I can do it anymore.
Well, we'll get into the current era, but I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna break the eras down thrustly, and I'm gonna base it off of WWE, the current products, the current wrestling shows that are out there. We've got the Rock and Wrestling era, which is the Hogan era from '85 to '93.
I'm not a fan
And then,
of that era.
You get ready for him, Rach.
I know, but I'm not. I hate Hulk Hogan for one, so that is a man I hate.
Hogan.
It's not I like to hate. I just absolutely hate it.
No, I never liked Hulk Hogan either, but we'll talk about it when we get to it. 93 to 97, which is the new generation. And I know that the NWO forming should probably be the start, a milestone start in 96, but we'll talk about it when it's pertinent.
Okay.
And then 97 to 2001 is your Attitude Era. 2001 to 2002 is a transition year. And then 2002 to about 2005 is the Ruthless Aggression Era. Then you got 2005 to 2008 is the Cena era. And then 2008 to 2011 is the PG era, which is the worst era. And then 2011 to 2014 is the reality era, and then you have 2015 to now, which is this, like, I don't even know, this, like, worldwide global era. I don't know if they've named it anything, yeah. But that's just WWE. Obviously, there's a million other...
The pandemic era?
The pandemic era is probably actually an era from when they had no fans. That's for sure.
Saying.
That hurt. That hurt the ability to enjoy watching it a lot.
Yeah. Probably
it
to
really
do it
did.
too. I bet they weren't having as much fun actually wrestling.
It had to be hard because half of...
They feed off the crowd.
Right. The crowd is part of the show. Part of what makes watching wrestling exciting is having the crowd there. Now they've gone too far because Vince is like, well, we don't need the crowd. I can just use the noise that I want the crowd to make. So if you watch it now, you'll hear a bunch of really fake crowd
shit.
Noise. Yeah,
Where
even
like,
faker
that
than...
wouldn't have been done. They never
Right.
would have done that.
Faker
noise.
than
What
usual.
Are you talking about?
Faker than the normal fakery.
God, that's depressing.
Do you think that we should explain some terminology that we'll probably use when we talk about wrestling and everything else for that matter?
Should we explain it when it comes up, or do you want to like just point out some terminology?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
Because it may not come up. Like I'm already immediately going to say, so Stone Cold Steve Austin's a heel. So I already know that. Do they understand that term? Because I have said that in different.
We've said heel and face.
Some people look
I
at me
think
like I'm crazy, and I'm like, do you not understand what a heel is?
I thought everybody knew what a heel is. It's like the perfect way to say a bad guy.
It is.
But yeah, maybe we could babyface. I should just say the phrase, say what it is, and have you explain what the phrase means.
Babyface, I don't think I know. I don't think I use that one as often.
Well, babyface is just
guy, but...
is the good guy. You're either a babyface or a heel. Babyface is a good guy. So if you hear
guy?
Face, it's a hero. Heel's a villain, bad guy.
Oh, I don't think I've ever heard the full term. I've
Oh,
only
because you
ever
just
knew
hear
face or
face.
heel.
Yeah.
Babyface confused me. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's always shortened. It's usually shortened to face, but baby face or
Yeah.
face. And then you've got a tweener, and a tweener could be someone that's in between a face and heel. They have traits of both, or Stone Cold becomes an anti-hero. So is he a tweener? He's not really a face, that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then you have the other terminology, which we'll talk about, like shoot. If something is a shoot, that means it's real. If something is a work, that means that it is predetermined acrobatics, as you put earlier, Rachel. A predetermined acrobatic exhibition.
I enjoy the acrobatics. I enjoy the spazzy acrobatics more so than the I'm giant and I'll punch you in the face. Like, that's fine, but I prefer the little guys running around like crazy
Oh,
people.
of course. One day we'll get into the video games, because that's really how the two of us and how you got brought back into wrestling, to the point where we've been to a few takeovers and stuff like that because
Right.
of the wrestling video game. I specifically remember, we'll probably repeat this story, but when it came to, like, I don't remember, 2K12 or 13, it was something. We were playing and you were like, well, who should I be? And I said, Daniel Bryan, probably, because he's really spazzy. And of course that makes you fall in love with Daniel Bryan.
It's perfect. Yes.
I guess I should say Bryan
yes.
Danielson. My mistake. But things like that. So there's a lot of different ways that we can go about talking about wrestling.
When I mark out.
Yes, marking out. Marking out, that's a term.
Yep.
Pop.
Pop?
All of this stuff. Yeah, they pop the crowd. It's when that's a big pop. When the crowd cheers, you get a pop.
Yeah.
Marking out I use for things that aren't wrestling anymore.
Oh, I use it for everything. Like I say, I use heel for everything. That's the problem.
It's such carny bullshit. It's like so bad. It's so bad when you start using this carnival talk in your everyday life. So I think we'll probably like spurse in all of like the carny background and like how wrestling became wrestling and all of this stuff as we talk about the different shows.
You constantly calling them carnies makes me uncomfortable.
Why is that, Rachel?
I don't know. I don't like carnivals. So then it's like you call this a carny show, and I'm just like, but I don't like carnivals.
Right. It started out at carnivals.
It's fine.
That's why
I'm just saying.
It's called a carny show. And carnies are kings among men, Rachel. Kings among men.
That's fine. They can they can be their carny selves at their carnivals. I just am not a big fan of carnivals. Too many people.
We are big fans of theme parks, though.
I do love theme parks.
Is there irony in that? Because a theme park is just a big carnival.
I disagree.
It's a carnival with a budget.
I guess so, and maintenance.
I think a theme park and major professional wrestling promotions do have a lot in common. There's a lot of facades. You get immersed. You let yourself be pulled into a world that is fake, but like you do it for the ambiance. There's a lot.
Fine. All right, you know what? Fine. Maybe I
good,
like carnivals. I don't know. Okay.
No, you don't like carnivals because you're thinking of going on the twirly whirl or something.
Yeah, I don't like carnivals.
Being
I
run by like.
parks. I don't want it to fall over while I'm on it.
Don't go on a roller coaster run by. Well, we have to save all of this for when we actually encounter a carnival.
Wait for our episodes on theme parks.
I thought you were going to say wait for our episode on Final Destination 3.
All right. Both. I think we should go to a theme park and do Final Destination 3. I think that's
But live at a theme park?
That's right.
We're going to be riding a roller coaster.
I'm going on a roller coaster. Yes. Well, I mean, if I can get you on one, yes.
I'll go on. Well, all right. Now we're going down the rabbit hole.
Too far down. They
Rumble
don't know about
game.
our game. We didn't talk about our Rumble game.
Should we talk about the Rumble game now? I guess we should. Why not?
Okay.
When else are we gonna do it? I mean,
I
do
guess
it.
that's true.
We're gonna do other rumbles, but we might as well do it on our first rumble because then they'll know that what we play on the others. You want to explain the game?
No, you can explain it.
So you can do this at home, folks. When the next rumble comes along, you could do it for this rumble before you watch it, because it's random. You could also pick squares, I guess, or you could pick the numbers yourself. So you could modify the game for your liking. But
absolutely,
what we do in our family is we split up the numbers 1 through 30 in a hat. Depending on how many people are playing, it's usually 3 of us, so we each get 10 numbers. But you can do as many as you want. You can do 5 people or whatever. You each get the numbers. And throughout the Rumble, you get points based on the performance of your guys. So if you had Austin, you would get a point for every other guy that comes out. You get a point. So like longevity gives you points. And then you get 3 points for every elimination they get.
That
so
they get.
like you get 3 points for Owen eliminating Gold Dust. At the end, then the winner gets 10 points. So you get even more points for the winner. So if you get like number 30 and number 30 ends up winning, but he wasn't there for a long time, you make it up because they win. And it's just a fun like little game that we play during the Rumble to make it so that, because like nowadays the crowd really gets anticipated because they're just so used to the Rumble of like who's going to be next. So like for us, it's always like, oh God damn it, it's like, the Miz.
Like, oh, okay, it's like my number is next. What am I getting?
Yeah.
And it's like it's a little bit more exciting that way, and it's a bit more chaotic for me because I'm usually the one tallying all the scores the entire time.
You could obviously modify that by doing, maybe you bet on the numbers. So instead of like drawing at random, you like put, I want $5 on number 11. Like you could do it that way too. Because then you could buy the numbers, but like you could make the lower the number, the worse. You have to pay more money for like number 28 compared to like number 10 or something like that.
Would make sense.
There's probably a bunch of different ways that you could do it. We know we have a family friends that do a separate Rumble party, and I think they also do like a Rumble pot too.
Where they get to have their own number.
Yeah,
I like that.
I think they pick the wrestler though. Like they pick the wrestlers that they know are going to be in it. Which that's different because
I like the random.
I like the randomness because
it's I don't know who I'm gonna get, and we kind of tend to guess as who's got to be next, and it's fun that way.
Yeah. So next time, folks, or the next time when we get to the 98 Rumble, or if you get your hat out, get the numbers ready before you watch it, and then let us know how the game went for you,
or who won?
Or
how
the
many
next
points
time,
did you get?
Yeah, or the next time the real Rumble happens. So I think that's everything that we really needed to cover. We probably didn't cover everything that we needed to, but this is just supposed to be like a ease you in, dip your foot into the water, make sure that it's not too cold, ease yourself into it. Because we went over a little bit of the timeline that we'll work with, some of the terms. I think some of the terms we will definitely talk about as we go through the Rumble. What I should mention is we're going to walk through wrestling just like we walk through anything else, as if it is a story. So we're going to walk through the matches. We're probably, the one thing that we didn't talk about were terms for wrestling moves like Irish whip and power bombs and suplexes and submission holds and all that stuff, which we'll do during the walkthrough. So if you don't watch beforehand any of the wrestling shows, you'll probably start picking up on what they are. I'm sure that between Rachel and I will come up with different ways to describe them, and we'll describe all the characters and different things that are going on in the ring and outside of the ring during the show. But hopefully that gives you an idea, just like with the comic books, of how we're going to structure our wrestling episodes, why we're doing pro wrestling, as it is just another one of those genres that potentially has some stuff that has shelf life, and it's fun to talk about, especially between the two of us. So even if you don't know professional wrestling, you don't like professional wrestling, or you've never really thought about professional wrestling, give the wrestling shows a shot, because you might have a lot more fun with them than you might think. So lace up your boots, get ready to take a bump or two, and get ready for Vince McMahon impressions, courtesy of a, well, let's say borrowed bit from one of our favorite podcast, Labs fan, because I mean, everybody that covers wrestling does a Vince McMahon impression. We're not going to be any different. And we will see you in the ring on Shelf Life.